Again, thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Mo Guerrero. I am the Customer Experience Manager here at Insight Technologies. I have with me Gus Bustamante, who is the one of the owners of Insight Technologies. Um, Gus, can you give us a high overview of who is Insight, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day today. We appreciate it. Thanks, Mo, for the introduction. So, Insight Technologies is a South Florida-based managed service provider. We Our practice is mainly based on outsourcing all or a portion of a client's IT operations, primarily to improve operations and lower the operating expenses. Between Tony, myself, and some of our consultants, we have over 40 years combined experience in South Florida small business market.
Thank you, Gus. So you're here because you want to learn a little bit more about what to do, right? So one of the questions is who is at risk, right? So a lot of you have seen what's going on in the news. I think with the latest one, the Colonial Pipeline, back in May 6th. So a lot of big companies that make the news, but also there are a lot of other people that don't make the news. What are the things that you see out there, Gus, in terms of cybersecurity risks?
Well, Mo, we're seeing exactly what you're reading about in the news. The ransomware attacks are on the rise across the country and across all verticals. Uh, just yesterday, I was reading about a attempted attack to poison the water system in northern Florida, and luckily they detected it and stopped it.
Wow,
So that one caught me, by surprise yesterday, and it seems that they're really trying to attack, our critical infrastructure now as well. Um, our job as IT professionals has become so security centric, and we've had to take many new certification tracks to better equip us for what's ahead and align ourselves with the leading security vendors to help protect ourselves and our customers. And this is something that we simply can't ignore. It's just become part of everyday life in the IT world and the world of doing business. It's unfortunate it's come to this.
absolutely. Absolutely. So why security matters? I mean, we've seen that more and more cybersecurity risk and cybersecurity attacks all over the U.S. and the world. I mean, I don't know if anyone have seen out there, but according to the news, 60% of small companies go out of business within 6 months. Customers are at risk, and of course, there's a liability to go along with it, right? Definitely, cybercrime is on the rise. Why do you think that small business are also at risk, Gus?
Well, Mo, the small businesses, as you know, they aren't as sophisticated as the big corporate enterprises, but yet they're still targeted equally. So, most of the small businesses don't have the investment in adequate IT staff, software, alerting systems, processes, etc. And they also have a much harder time recovering from these attacks. So the attackers don't care. They attack everyone the same. They don't take it easy on the small guys.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. So with that, we're going to watch a little video that basically talks a little bit about the anatomy of a hacker. It's only 3 minutes long.
How did you decide to become a hacker?
Well, I'm not really sure what it means to become a hacker. That's like some guy in a hoodie who types really fast and stays up all night writing code and cracking passwords. It's not me. I just spy on people and see what makes them click. It's not a bad job.
Mark Hanning, CEO of Qualicart, set to report earnings after their blockbuster IP.
So you consider this a job?
I put a lot of work into this. I'm not lazy. It takes research to figure out the key players, learn all about them, their families, their friends, what they care about. You have to understand the company's organization. I get a lot of my information from the sales department because they're always so quick and eager. They're hungry. People trust too easily. They don't look at the details. I do. Details matter. That's what I'm good at. It has to look completely believable. It has to look familiar. This is where research is important. It's not some generic piece of spam. It's an email from their boss with their company's signature. It's written in the voice of the boss. It's what he would say if he were writing this.
What about the malware itself? How does that work?
Somebody else out there already wrote all the code that does the actual attack. I'm just using it in the attachment. My skill is in my ability to get a bunch of people to click on that attachment. I always wonder what it's like when the whole thing unfolds on their end, when the panic sets in.
Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, this is Rajiv in finance. Call me as soon as you get this. Something's up with my laptop. I can't.
Katie, are you on your way into the office? Something's going on with our file servers.
It's Karen in HR. Our benefits dashboard seems really slow. We're getting calls from users on it. Give me a call when you get this. Joining conference.
Apparently, there's a malware attack targeting our main...
It's ransomware. They're holding us hostage.
We're locked out of everything. I can't even check my phone. What about the backup?
That will take days.
We need this fixed now. You pay it. We don't have a choice. We're reporting earnings in 2 hours.
But how does
Just
help?
pay. Put every single getting us back up and running. That's the only priority now.
Okay, it's done.
I have the decrypt key. We have a problem. The ransomware was just to distract us. They got inside. They got everything. Customer data, financials, everything.
Qualicards is reeling today from the news that hackers have released personal information of nearly
The
2
Nasdaq
million
closed lower today, led by Qualicard, which was down 14% on news that their recent data breach may be far worse than the company
Its stock
originally
fell to a
acknowledged.
new all-time low on news that CEO Mark Hanning is stepping down after what is turning out to be one of the worst breaches of personal information in recent history.
Do you feel bad about releasing the personal information? All the financials? All the money that was lost?
All I did was get the files. I'm not the one that decided to release them. I'm not the one that shorted the stock. Somebody else had their reasons for that. It's above my pay grade. I was paid to do a job, and I did it well. And that's what's expected of anyone, isn't it? Anyway, markets bounce back.
You know, guys, it's very interesting. I always thought that these hackers were actually coders.
Yeah, well, first of all, that video never gets less frightening for me. It's really scary. But no, it's evolved into some sophisticated social engineering, overall social platforms. And it's even created a new form of spear phishing, which is a new weapon of choice, along with traditional phishing attacks. I was also reading this week that it's an industry now, just like this hacker right here in the video. She's just doing her piece, but the whole industry of developing the attack, selling it, making it available, and modifying it it's its whole own industry. It's taking off as one of the largest industries on the planet right now, and the government has even gotten to the point where they're thinking about banning cryptocurrency because that's how they get paid. And you can see that, with the fluctuation in the price of Bitcoin, and some countries, basically pushing to try to, erase crypto from being a valid form of getting these people paid. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it's definitely on the rise.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I read somewhere that it's even more profitable than the drug business nowadays.
Yeah, they have, much lower risk and overhead, and it scales well, and very little accountability. It's very hard to track it back.
Yeah,
Our government is getting better, but they're still a long way off. Most of the small businesses just simply go out of business. It's a $200,000 average ransom, and you can lose use of your computing system for up to a week. If you have the inability to service your customers and a $200,000 ransom hanging over your head, and even choosing not to pay it isn't really an option anymore, because if you choose not to pay it and rebuild and recover, they will actually take your data and post it on the dark web. And that could be a huge damage to your reputation.
Wow. Interesting. Thank you, Gus. Well, what should you do, right? Well, one of the things that you need to determine is basically what is it that you need to do? What is your cybersecurity status right now? Who's responsible internally within your company? Of course, taking inventory of your business data. CUI, control unclassified information, and PII, personally identifiable information, right? Determine the sensitivity of your documentation, make sure that you know where those things are, and decide what business capabilities and cybersecurity measures you need to manage yourself, or determine who else can actually do this for you. What are some of the things that you've seen out there, Gus, that people are doing?
Well, as you can see, security is a multi-layered defense strategy. There's no one single tool that can protect you against the many ongoing threats coming at us every day. So each of these 6 areas, there's a best of breed tool that requires proper implementation, management, updating, monitoring. Security's become the primary focus of an IT professional's daily work effort. And it's pretty much a full-time job to keep these bad guys out of your network. There's so many, our business is so integrated in the internet that it's very difficult and challenging to keep them away. As you saw in the video, everything's out there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gus. And of course, some of the 6 prevention first steps are firewall, cloud and app multi-factor authentication, antivirus, patch management, backup. Some of the things that we see out there is that people are, even though they're backing up, they're not checking their backup, and education. Gus, is there anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, so you can see along with the 6 layers, number 6, education is one of the most overlooked. But honestly, the way the attacks are evolving so fast, it's very hard. I mean, let's be honest, our end users are busy, they're highly distracted. Many of them have compulsive tendencies and ego. They just click on things they shouldn't. We're all guilty of it. I mean, I've come close to clicking on these things. And I know many other professionals who are otherwise very careful have also clicked on them. It just happens. So, and we can tell by the numbers and the success of the attacks that this is still happening. So that's why you kind of got to depend on a multi-layered, well-maintained security system that's always, the sentinel watching and protecting. Sadly, we get a lot of calls from people who don't have that in place, and then they're desperate for us to come out and put a magic, pull a rabbit out of a hat and get everything up and running right away. But it's not always possible. As you can see, even Colonial Pipeline, with a massive IT department and the aid of the federal government, they couldn't wave a wand and quickly undo the damage from the attack. And you saw all the repercussions that had across the country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was something else.
It's best to be proactive and do your diligence and protect the data, and not be faced with this. It's sadly just a part of doing business now. Even for us, as an IT company, we have to protect ourselves the same as we do for our customers.
Absolutely. You're right. Thank you. So here's some of the best practices that you should take into consideration for your business, right? So protect your data, avoid any pop-ups, unknown emails and links, the use of strong password and maybe changing those passwords with some sort of frequency, connecting to secure Wi-Fi's, secure your remote workforce as well, invest in security systems, maintaining your system by constantly installing security software updates, right? That's important. Microsoft tends to release patches frequently, so somebody internally should be looking at those things. Talk to your IT department or MSP and embrace education and training. And of course, zero trust policy, because anything else that our viewers here should know about.
Yeah, so things are changing in the last 18 months. As you know, our workforce is diverse and they're working remotely, and we can't always control, where our data is, what computers are doing the work from. But it's very important that all business work happens on a managed business computer, and that you have a zero trust policy, which means you can't assume anything is safe or that anything is happening. You got to assume that everything outside your outside your firewall is a risk. And unfortunately, that's just the way we have to do it. It's a constant battle. The bad guys, they never rest, they never sleep, and they only have to be right once.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gus. And with that, I mean, this is basically a short webinar. We're looking for input. Please feel free to send us an email at sales@insidetechgroup.com. We're starting to roll out new webinars, and the reason we're doing this, again, just for prevention measures, and we want to create awareness for our business community. Any last words, Gus?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that small businesses are just as much at risk as the big ones. And these emails, I'm sure you see them. The phishing emails is the primary risk. So please be careful what you click on. If you don't handle invoices and you get an email with an invoice on it, don't click on it, because 99% of the time it's not real. If you get somebody asking you to send you a gift card for Amazon or for Apple, it's fake, even though it looks like it's exactly from your boss. We've seen that one multiple times already. Um, you know, the banks asking you to change passwords, Microsoft asking you to change passwords. It's better to be safe than sorry. Don't click on these things. Don't put your password in. The banks will never call you. UPS, FedEx, those are all well-known phishing attacks, but there's many more out there. So please be careful, everyone. You don't want to get, crypto locked. It's not a good thing.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time for everyone this morning. I don't see any Q&A, so any questions. So with that, we thank you for participating, and hopefully we'll see you soon in our next webinars. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone, for your time.